trying to think of a way so that this will have anything to do with what we've talked about before. Imagine you're a hyper-educated avant-gardist in grad school learning to write.
Right.
Screen gets all fuzzy now as the viewer's invited to imagine this. Coming out of an avant-garde tradition, I get to this grad school, and the grad school turns out all the teachers are realists. They're not at all interested in postmodern avant-garde stuff. Now, there's an interesting delusion going on here. So they don't like my stuff. I believe that it's not because my stuff isn't good, but because they just don't happen to like this kind of aesthetic. In fact, known to them but unknown to me, the stuff was bad. It was indeed bad. So in the middle of all this, hating the teachers, but hating them for exactly the wrong reason, this was spring of 1986. I remember who I went to see the movie with. Blue Velvet comes out. Blue Velvet comes out. Blue Velvet is a type of surrealism. It may have debts. There's a debt to Hitchcock somewhere, but it is an entirely new and original kind of surrealism. It no more comes out of a previous tradition or the postmodern. It is completely David Lynch. And I don't know how well you or your viewers would remember the film, but there are some very odd... There's a moment when a guy named the Yellow Man is shot in an apartment, and then Jeffrey, the main character, runs to the apartment, and the guy's dead, but he's still standing there. There's no explanation, you know? He's just standing there. And it's almost classically French, Franco-philistically surreal, and yet it seems absolutely true and absolutely appropriate. And there was this... I know I'm taking a long time to answer your question. There was this way in which I all of a sudden realized that the point of being postmodern or being avant-garde or whatever wasn't to follow in a certain kind of tradition, that all that stuff is BS imposed by critics and camp followers afterwards, that what the really great artists do, and it sounds very trite to say it out loud, well, what the really great artists do is they're entirely themselves. They're entirely themselves, they've got their own vision, their own way of fracturing reality, and that if it's authentic and true, you will feel it in your nerve endings. And this is what Blue Velvet did for me. I'm not suggesting it would do it for any other viewer, but Lynch very much helped snap me out of a kind of adolescent delusion that I was in about what sort of avant-garde art could be. And it's very odd, because film and books are very different media. But I remember going with 2 poets and 1 other student fiction writer to go see this, and then all of us going to the coffee shop afterwards and just, slapping ourselves in the forehead. And it was this truly epiphanic experience.
Yeah, that's right. You feel the same thing when you see Lost Highway, too.
I hope so.
Because same thing, and you walk out and you're saying, I have no idea. It just was an experience. And it was an experience inside of David Lynch's head.